Right, episode 42 of the CROM Update, and I am joined this fine afternoon here on the East Coast, morning on the West Coast with Dexter Jones. Dexter, thank you so much for taking the time, getting on the CROM Update to talk about your CROM. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here.
All
Yeah.
right, welcome.
Yeah.
Your original. We originally became connected through Turbo Pit Fighter, so
Yes.
you're over on that community, and we have a. I post every day like a question in and sometimes it's very much like polling questions just to
Hmm.
see what where people sit when it comes to the ever changing and shifting indie comic scene and kind of majority comic scenes. But you have given some just great input. I have to say, I always look forward to your input. And then when I
Thank you.
launched the Crom the Barbarian channel, which we're on right now, you also jumped over there with your support all the way up to the point of sending me. It's 22 pages, right? This is
Oh yeah,
yeah,
22
22
pages.
pages.
Hmm.
So I'm super excited to get into this. Would you like to just give a little background on you as a comic book creator?
Oh sure. A long time ago, 1995, I created a comic called The Nono Zone. I sold about 275 through um, Diamond, and
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do more than that. But it's a fun book. It's for kids. It's like Star Trek for kids. And when I read it today, it's actually still funny to me. And I wrote it, and I'm still laughing. So it's just fun. I'll
Cool.
send you one. I'll send you and Jake
Oh,
a couple
thank
of
you.
copies so you can
Well,
review them
thank
and
you.
stuff. So yeah, but that's what I started at. I collect comic books. A lot of people know me, in the comic book community here. It's although not a whole lot, but they know who I am, and I know who some of them are, and it works. I love comics. So and I draw a lot, and there's a mixture of drawing and creating that I go through. That it's a little bit different because I'm coming from a designer side. I like to design tools for people, like something like this. Neil Adams said if you roll the pen, it works. Well, this rolls too, but it rolls differently. So it's
Oh,
stuff like that I use. This is just one of those assigning pen, but I do that with most of my pens that I use and pencils that I use, and it
it's like a
actually
grip.
it actually, yeah, it's a grip for working out, but when you use it here, it makes your lines different. So if I put a little piece of rubber in there to do that. But see, I'm talking about tools. I'll talk about tools all day. That's my thing. I'll move into
That's
tools.
cool.
So you have to
That's cool.
drift me away from
We're
tools
yeah,
because
I'm gonna read because
redirect, redirect.
we're gonna put you we're gonna put you in the Crom frame of mind. What was the
Sure, sure,
first
sure.
time? What was the first time you came across Crom, and how did
Um,
you come across
it
Crom?
was on your channel, and you were selling the
Oh
book
wow.
Crom, and I
Oh
thought, wow,
wow.
that's a
Okay.
cool looking character. I need to buy one of those. So I got my Crom book right here, and yeah,
Thank you.
and
I
then I
love your
have
support.
two pit fighters. I think I gave one to a friend of mine too, but it's a very good story. I like it. Um, I like the noodling. I like what you're doing. Because I'm the opposite of that, and I need to incorporate a little bit more of that into my work because I'll do a stick figure and think it's okay, but it's not. so you'll see what I'm doing.
We can,
Well,
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
well
I
you can
mean,
you can see what's going on, but I want to do more than just stick figures. So yeah, and
well, I mean, just this as like I would refer to it as like a concept art page. Just it's just taking a
oh yeah
piece
yeah
of
yeah
the idea
yeah yeah
and
yeah.
getting it down. Like this is just incredibly
You're on the
graphic,
sword,
as
yeah.
you were saying.
Hmm.
And it's like, but you're making these indications all around, which keeps feeding. Definitely me.
Yeah,
What the heck is going on, and where are we going?
well, Crom to me is not a very happy god because how he gets there, and
Yeah,
it's all the things that you don't want to do, he does to save us all,
right,
and
right.
it's a gritty story. I mean I don't mind telling you all of it, but what happens is these aliens take him and turn him into what he is. He's a 100%er, and the way I look at it, if you have 200%ers, 100% and another 100%, that's 200%. We don't do the scale differently. So if you got an 80%er against two guys that are 100%, there's no way he can win unless the 80%er is a Kardashev 5 or something like that. Kardashev 4 would be, it's like the Richter scale. You really can't fight these guys if they're big. If you look at the end of the story, there's no fight. It's like spraying bugs. There's no, because he's a Kardashev 5 going against Kardashev 4s, and he's just touching him with his sword. That's it. What are you talking about?
Right.
Right here. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what I'm just talking about. The helm this is their end right here, and these are all the males. He sucks them all up. They're done because the females can't mate by themselves. So, and it's I like it because Crom has to be a character that is brooding always, because if you look at this here, this is the one you were talking about. This is Lala's children, the sword. She has 3 kids, and the reason why Crom needs them is because he needs their scale. Kids are like, I think I have it here what the scales are, but let me see. Somewhere I wrote it down. Anyway, they're like 60, 65, and Lala is like 95. So he needs that to control the ship. And if he can control the ship, then he can become a god, because if he's a god, then he can save the world, because those aliens I'm talking about here, when they leave to go mate with these women, the Dahelm, they're going to destroy the world. So that's why Crom goes through his trial and becomes this.
So I have a quick question.
Sure.
On this page. So when I got to this page, which I think
yeah.
2 or 3 on there like that,
Yeah.
are you familiar with the HBO series Raised by Wolves?
Never seen it.
All right.
What part of this is something there that's hitting on what they do?
I don't wanna. If you have, do you have HBO? I don't want to make
Yeah,
you have to get HBO.
I have it. Mm-hmm.
But if you check it out, I only did the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take too much time on it, because it is very involved. Which
Mm-hmm.
I came up with this question based because this was like the second time I was going through your notes.
Right.
That there's a let's just say an esoteric framework to work within a story, but then we're still just dealing with like the basic story tropes, moms and dads and children growing up and
Sure.
bad guys and these
Mm-hmm.
types of things. So the Raised by Wolves is like an experiment on a planet with 2 androids, which are literally called Mother and Father,
Mm.
and the there's an individual who ends up kind of becoming to fly in their ointment,
Mm-hmm.
and this creates this kind of, once again, it's like a feeling of like a catalyst type of thing where people are trying to just do good,
Mm-hmm.
right things, but there's always something on the outside as a mechanism that's not causing it. So it's not anything for me to say, um, you know like watch this, and it's not that. It's just, I think the curiosity, and this really goes to a larger point in what I'm setting out to accomplish with Crom the Barbarian. So we as a species, humans, in our evolution and our development, have always been telling stories. It's only recently we started writing them down, and then they became documentation. Well, I'm not interested in the written down documentation versions of Crom, though I am writing and documenting it into a comic book. But the whole idea is to, have you ever heard of there's like a test or a little game they would play where you put a circle of people, people in a circle, let's say 10 people, and the first person tells the person to their left the story. You know, a
Sure,
little
sure,
white lamb
sure.
went up the hill, blah blah blah, and then
Hmm.
it comes around, and then by the time it comes around, it's like this guy named John Jackson had a Harley Davidson named Lamb and went, you know, and then so on and so forth. So I'm very much, because Crom is a public domain character, I'm not trying to control the IP or the direction of it,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
there's so many great people. I don't know. Did you have you come
Oh,
across Brugel Blade of Crom?
I've looked at some of the artwork from the book there, and the last
And it,
episode of Pit Fighter, you showed some Crom
yep,
books that I have to
yep, yep.
get, and I have
Yep,
to,
and then
yeah,
these are two
yeah,
from
yeah.
Image
Those are the ones.
Comics,
Those are the ones.
Jim
Hmm.
Gillette, and then I have Christopher Mills Crom heading my way. So
Cool,
then
cool.
there's another Crom called Crom the Destroyer, but that seems to be still stuck in some sort of weird Indiegogo land that you have to order through, and I'm not very interested in it.
I
But
also go ahead.
yes, no, you go ahead.
You have a book too, not for sale, that I'm kind of interested in maybe not getting. If you could not send me one, I'd like it. No, I'm just being. I'd like for you. I mean, I'll probably buy one from you if it's not for. I don't know how to get it. That's what I'm saying. I'd like to have it if you we could figure out a way to get that. The large
Are
one.
you talking about the? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that is based that is not for sale
Yeah, I know. That's
because
why I don't want it for
there's a lot of
sale.
yeah, 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 yeah. No, 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 no. But I have had a lot of inquiries about it, which I expected. But I'm going to keep it for individuals who are deeper in the project, you know, the
Okay.
Crown Anthology project as a
Hmm.
whole, and specifically about helping me curate the
I see.
stories as
I see.
dynamics, because a
I see.
lot of that stuff is from there.
It's
So I
got a lot of
don't
cool
want to
stuff in there.
become. Oh, it does. It does. And I'll be
Hmm.
sharing more and more of it. And to be honest with you, the majority of that is I'm looking to get reprinted in the anthologies. So that's just for me to.
Oh,
No, it's
so
okay. Yeah.
on this Dahelm female, you're saying something here is close to another story. Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying? Okay. Is it
Yep.
is it
Yep.
born
It's the
pregnant?
woman. It's the mother. It's the mother.
Her, the design
It's
of
the
her?
mother figure. No, not the design. No, it's just the story. It's
Oh,
just the
you
story.
mean that I hate being a mother? Is that it? I'm just wondering because
No.
I have to guess because I have never seen the story. Maybe because they lose their memories because when they die and mate, and but
Oh,
they're eternal. They're eternal. The top part is digital, right? This is
yeah.
the demi flesh, but they can be killed, but they always come back. The only thing that
I
can
really, yeah, you're good. I think
the only thing that can,
I'm hoping by sharing with you the Raised by Wolves,
hmm.
when you check it, if you end up checking it out, I think you're gonna
Okay,
be
I'll have to check it out. I'll probably
you're gonna be pleasantly surprised.
okay.
But
Well,
you know what it brings in, what it brings in, because and I had a feeling we would be going, you know, slalom down the
mm,
slalom with you on this story. You have a lot of, I can only refer to it as esoteric information. In other words, the information that you're providing here, especially like the Kurdashev,
Kurdashev,
the
yeah,
Kardashian,
Kurdashev. Uh-huh.
okay, and then the type fours and type fives.
Hmm.
Now, this is the really, I think, is the extraordinary thing about your story, Dexter,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that, and I want us to go through just the kind of
Oh,
like
okay,
sheet by sheet,
okay,
and
yeah, yeah,
so basically everybody could be like, oh, okay, okay, I have a better idea. The first question, page one, page two,
yeah, yeah.
is this the Stone Age? Is this the Stone Age?
Yes, it is. It is the
Okay,
Stone
it is the
Age.
Stone Age. All right. Yes.
Let me
All
see
right.
if I can
Because
get the.
this is a battlefield. This is a battlefield, and it's like basically like blonde haired barbarians against black haired barbarians, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much the story, and the primitives against the guys with a little bit more. They can make better spears and stuff.
Sure, sure,
Mm.
sure. Then we get basically page three and four, which is just some fantastic fighting. So you got some
Yeah.
great combat between them.
Hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, the other guy's swords are kind of jagged and beat up. They're metalsmiths, but they're just not as good at it.
Yeah.
But there are more of them, and they're pretty vicious. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I didn't
All
really
right.
give them a name or
Then
anything.
now and then page 5 and 6. It looks like more combat, but there's it says foot guy, sword guy, and I'm assuming Crom has grabbed the spear by his foot and
Well,
then is like that has hit this guy. Like this
you're
spear,
talking about
this
right
is really
here.
that's a yeah, it's like a 2-page spread. This is pretty sweet.
What happens is the spear guy comes in, he blocks the spear with his sword and
Uh,
shield, and keeps the spear held with the shield, spins around
mm-hmm,
and stabs the guy in the chest with a backwards
uh,
move. And then the other guy comes in and tries to hit him with a sword, and he chops his foot off. And another guy comes in and gets a good chunk on his shield, Crom thrust, but it's a fake feint, and it turns into a loop. And
mm-hmm.
chops off his hand and goes into his eye and keeps spinning all the way around and chops his head off. And then the guy with two swords shows up, and Crom knows he has a little bit to deal with. That's
Okay.
the 2-page spread there, and that was fun. I really like to
No,
show
it's great design.
those bits.
Five,
I try to keep.
six, 5, 6 as well. 5 and 6 is really. This is. I mean, you got. I mean, you're doing a number one. You're doing a number one, which is action. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dexter, by the way,
Hmm.
can you push your pad up to give a full view?
Is that
Keep
it there?
going, keep going.
How's that?
Oh, that's perfect. Then to your left, go to your left a little bit to get square.
Okay.
You're perfect now. Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, we're on page 6, and you have it all leads up to this just fantastic like move, the
Mm-hmm.
foot, the spear, and then getting the double sword guy
Listen,
down for the count.
Crom is dexterous, so he can use his feet, hands, even his mouth as a weapon
Of
because he's
course,
100. He's
of
a hundred
course.
percenter. So he's drawing this guy in to get to the sword. I mean the spear that he already got from the other guy, and just does this like skateboard move and has the sword pointing the right way, and then bang
That's
right
sweet.
to the guy's head.
That's
And
sweet.
this panel is going to be fun to draw. Yeah, it's going to be real fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
made you said manga, both manga
yeah, well,
move, right? Like
manga
I
would
get
have
what I get what you're giving yourself a note for, just for
yeah,
that energy. It's like
yeah,
that
yeah.
abstract energy
There's going to
going
be
from there.
almost flames coming out of it right here. It's like
Right.
boom.
That's so cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
So then we get to 7, 8, and then this is where we get the first visual of it. Is it correct to call it's a ship? It's a city ship.
yeah. It's a city ship. It's massive. It is a life form, but not totally like us. It's invincible. That's
Right.
that's the that's
Right.
the key thing you need to know about the ship. It's invincible, and demi flesh, which is humans turn into soup, is what it uses as blood and thinking process.
Whew.
Yeah, I know,
So,
but it's
so
fun.
this
Yeah.
is oh yeah, yeah, I'm with you. So this is where now these barbarians that were just in a real decent fight are being engaged by
Sky gods,
this alien. Yeah,
sky
yeah,
gods,
sky gods.
yeah.
That's really good.
And
Um, then okay, now 9, 10. This is also like another just wild double spread. And I guess I just for my own ignorance, like I said, for some of the esoteric material, are these pages meant to give sort of like a chemistry, if you will, of how things work in the world that you have going on right here?
in a way, yeah, yeah,
Okay. All
definitely.
right. Because you have the two different ships. One's male, one's female, and then both of them, and then right, and then ships' faces. All right, bodies. So then, okay. So then all that 11, 12. We've got all of that now coming and crashing to Earth, or
Hmm.
let's just call it
This is from a woodcut.
crime.
Actually, the ships. There's a woodcut from. It's called Nuremberg Celestial Phenomena. It's an actual
Oh,
event.
okay.
It's an actual event that people back in the day saw and made paintings of. Something came into the sky. They don't know what it was. Things were zooming around and blowing up, and then they went away. So that's an actual event. And I'm saying that
That's
from
pretty
that
cool.
event, because they got pushed back in
Mm-hmm.
time by the females, that's why they stopped
Mm-hmm.
there and they pushed on. And that's why the ships look the way they look because of that woodcut. I think it's a woodcut. It might be a painting,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what those ships are,
Oh, I'll
and
look it
that's
up.
what Crom sees. This is Crom right here, and
Uh-huh.
the females basically don't want to mate because it means death to them and they lose their memories. And then from
Okay.
there, they have to raise teenagers, and who wants to do that with no memories? So that's
Right.
why they don't want to mate. And the ship flies off. I mean, they attack the ship. This is actually theft. They're stealing the demi flesh, and they stole the engine. There's the slip forward, slide back, drive. Basically, what it is. What they'll do, they'll slip forward and slide back. Um, and Crom's over here looking at it and basically says the fish god beat the spear god because that's he's primitive. He's not really understanding what goes off on,
Yeah.
and then they leave
Yeah.
because
Mm-hmm.
the females did their job. They got everything they needed. They don't have to mate, and they've got all the goods, and they just fly off. Boom.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
All right.
that's. I like these pages. These are fun, and they're simple. I mean,
Uh,
they're
they're
not really hard to do.
super. They're
Yeah.
super. The whole thing's fun.
Yeah, I think.
And 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
We have. They're still engaging. Is this? This is okay. The battle, right? This is the primitive.
Um,
The barbarians. You
oh,
return to the
13. What are you at? 13 and 14?
13, 14. Yeah.
Well, so what happens
Because you,
here is they're on the ship, and you can see that
everybody's on the ship.
yeah, this is the inside of the ship. This is the helm, and they're Kardashev 4s, and these guys are variations of Kardashev 3s, 3.5, 3.9, and they're basically slaves to the Kardashev 4s. And
Okay.
the captain of the ship is mad and basically sends everybody out to because the report is the females stole slip drive, their breathe gas, which it's gold gas that they breathe is they only have 98% of it is gone. They only have 10% demi flesh, and all their systems are rebooting, and so they can't breathe and they can't eat. So this guy gets mad, so they go out of the ship to get gold gas, which is gold, and then flesh,
It's
which is the
amazing.
demi flesh. We are the demi flesh, and
Right.
that's where Crom really gets his problem, because to exist and save us, he has to eat us, and that's where he gets pissed off. He has to eat it. Well,
Ah,
there's more to it too.
all right.
This thing goes
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
for 2 centuries. He's stuck in that ship, hiding, and they see him as a glitch in the ship because he's 100%, but they don't really care because, well, at least that system's working, and they move on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why it's working is Crom is at 100% inside the ship, as not demi flesh, but his body's in there, but it's coming in. And
Right.
on 14, I like this because Crom asks for his, because he's got status in the tribe. Give me my shit spear or excrement spear. I don't know if we can, how we can say that, but he gets the spear.
Yeah, we did.
And he says,
It's good.
I don't
It's all
like
good.
these gods. I don't like them. And he does this
Right.
javelin throw. This is him throwing a javelin. And I just saw another javelin throw
Okay.
where the guy spins and he even goes further. But he just throws this thing and it just sails. It doesn't hit the lead guy, but it hits the second guy. And his shit spear kills him. So his shit is, well, I'm sorry, I don't want to ruin your podcast. His excrement kills
Right.
kills the demigods.
Well, this is the main guy. This is the captain, the bad
No,
guy.
it's a different guy. It's a different guy.
Oh, okay. 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 Okay.
They have different. He's similar to him, but it's a different head. If
Yeah.
you look real close, there's no mandibles on it. He doesn't have the little things coming
Ah.
out the side. So that's a different guy.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's a few of them that run out to try to fight. So
All right.
it's fun. And sometimes I write things on a different place because I need to see it as I'm doing it here. My
You do great. I mean, one of the number one reasons I wanted to show this off, Dexter, is to
yeah.
get other people to mimic this as a process. I mean, this is really how we should do it. Is that it's just coming out as fast as it's coming out. It's got to get down on something that you can come back at and you can scribble on and you can make different notes. You can Xerox it, make a whole nother different set of notes.
Yeah.
But
I
the impressiveness that you've done in um, sharing your thoughts is very impressive. And once again, I just have
Thank
to
you.
thank you
Hmm.
for sharing it with myself and allowing us to also
Hey,
take a stroll
Crom.
through
Crom lives.
take a stroll through the first draft. So,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
but so we have 15, 16, right? Yeah,
Right.
15, 16.
And I wanted
Yeah.
to show you
Okay.
this too. This is what I
Yeah.
use. It's just a piece of plastic that I cut.
Oh, look at that.
And
Sweet.
this, I mean, so you don't get bogged down making lines. I just boom, 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 boom. And I have smaller ones. You can make them from manga. You don't have to buy this. You can make that yourself. It's easy,
Right.
you know,
That's
and
very nice.
really it helps with the consistency of your storytelling when you have something like this.
Right.
Some people might not like it, but I use it, and I try to introduce things to people so they can, you know, use it if they
Well,
want
thank
to.
you.
Um,
Thank you.
and 15, you're welcome. 15 and 16. This is what happens. I'm showing that there's, he flies off going, what? You killed one of mine? You know, no way. And basically, he's pissed off. And this guy's still dead with the shit spear lying next to him. And the other guys are looking around like, how could that possibly happen? But the head guy comes down and basically toasts everybody. It's spraying bugs. We're bugs. And
Mm-hmm.
Lala is in the bushes, brother, and she's that's Lala, and she's crying because she knows.
Mm-hmm.
Because women will always watch the battle from far off and figure out what they're going to do. Are we going to go with these guys? Or are we going to leave? What are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because we need to know what these guys are going to do. Are our guys winning? We might have to go with those other guys.
Right.
That's history. Um, and 16, you can see their bodies being turned into demi flesh right there. And this is one big, huge demi flesh ball of people. And right there, if you can see it very faintly, is Crom. He is not turned into demi flesh. The reason why is he's 100% compatible with the ship, and the the helm. They have lost their bodies years ago. They're digital with demi flesh bodies, thinking that they can get to be um, Kardashev fives, but without a body, you can't get to Kardashev five. The other fives won't let you in. So, but they don't know that. So they're running around trying to be fives forever, and they lose everything. Lala comes out and says, "Oh wow, I know my son, my brother's still alive. I can feel it," and she can, because a she's a 95er. And and then we go to 17 and 18, and see, I changed the look of the panels because I'm doing it from Crom's point of view. At this stage, he's in the ship and he can see everything everywhere because he's part of the ship. He doesn't know everything, but he can see everything. He can see and hear. This is basically him waking up in the ship, floating in the sea of demi-flesh. And they really don't know what he is, the aliens. They're just happy to, they got that portion done. And the ship gets turned over to a second in command, and everybody else goes to sleep, basically. And he wants them. There's a lot of writing here talking about orders given, because you don't have to show every order. You just give the order, and you know it's going to get done, basically. So the top guy says we need breathe gas, and we need gold gas, and we need flesh. So that's pretty much the order here, and they're doing this for centuries because their drive is gone, and they need food, and they need to breathe, which is the gold gas. Um, so basically, here you've got a bunch of people going back and forth for the ship, feeding the ship. It's not, functioning that well, but it can float, and systems are getting back online. It's a terrible thing because they're stranded on Earth back in the Stone Age, and they're digital. So everything has to be um, done from scratch. They can create things, but if you don't have anything to create with, it's hard, and it takes energy. So they need the gold gas, they need energy, they need flesh. They're just going out from different tribes. And from this point of view, on this panel, we have Crom. This is basically he's protecting his village by covering it with the fogs and different type of things so that the helm doesn't see it. But he's also giving up other people's so that his people can survive, which is, yeah, not a great thing, but that's what he does. And then, this is them going out foraging for people and off. This thing goes on and on. This is just it going on. Gold gas, Lala. Lala actually has a family and a husband, and she's directed to do that with a certain man by Crom because he knows he needs her and her offspring to control the ship. and that's where it gets. I don't want to say what it really is, but it's kind of weird.
Well done. Don't
You know,
spoil.
what I'm talking about.
You don't have to spoil. No, you don't have to spoil everything.
Oh, you want me to stop now? I'll stop.
It no, not yet, not yet. We've got. Well, actually, do you want to? Do you
No,
want to
no, I
stop?
can.
We could
I don't
really.
mind.
We could
When
tease
I go
them.
to when I go to a comic
We
book
could
shop, I
tease them
always
for
flip them.
more later. What was that?
It's up. It's your. You decide what you want. You can. I'll go to the
Well, you
end.
know what I do. What you know what I do. I'm gonna hold off right here. I really
Okay.
want to
Okay.
hold off here because the one thing I want to keep reiterating is this is your story,
Hmm.
and and I like I said I can't thank you enough for sharing it with me and then allowing me to share it with the community. The thing about it, and I just want to talk. I just want to talk. Oh yeah, that's right. You're actually that's page one, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh man, that's looking good. That's looking good. So oh, that's page two.
Yeah, it's picture.
Oh,
So what I'm doing is I'm
it's
focusing on the
fine.
stuff that's really important and leaving everything else in
Okay.
shadow to keep the speed up. I don't know if you can see it all, but that's it.
Nice. Nice. No,
Yeah.
nice.
And
This is
Crom
nice.
has his pinky out when he fights. It's part of the way they are, and it's the same thing with
Right.
the Dahelm. They have their pinkies out all the time. It's just what
Right.
happens anyway. Things like
Right.
that. But
Right.
I'll be finished with this page probably today, and I'll be working on another 2 pages. I try to do 2 pages at the same time. But I probably
So
interrupt you.
Dexter,
Yeah, yeah,
not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
yeah.
Dexter, do you have a YouTube channel?
I do, but I don't really post
Are
anything
you
on
are
it.
you posting? Are you posting anything to it?
No, I do have one thing, but it's the AB zip that we talked about earlier. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No
it's
worries.
not about Crom.
The,
It's for something else. But I
So
guess I could put my artwork
the
there. Go
big
ahead.
thing, yeah. Well, the big thing that I constantly have to state, I'd like to state over and over again is I'm not a publisher. I'm just a guy like yourself who's in love with sword and sorcery, black and white, pencil inking, comic books, Crom the Barbarian to be specific. I'm doing
Hmm.
this collaboration call for open collaboration. But the thing that just has me basically like mesmerized at this point is like you're literally okay. I'm just gonna ask the question: is this 22 pager layout an entire comic, like just start to finish, or is
Yes,
this just a beginning point? Is this just a
it,
like
it's
a
it's a
beginning point,
one
or is
off.
it?
It's a
It
one
is a
off.
one off. Okay. All
But
right.
if there's any interest, if one person gives me a letter saying, "Hey, it's cool," I will do another. Yeah, and I'll probably do another one anyway because I like the character, and what I'm trying to do is get my style down. I've been plagued with most of my art career looking like Jim Lee, not career, but what I'm doing, looking like Jim Lee or looking like someone else. I hopefully looking like myself, and that's all I really want in my art, just to look like me.
Yeah. I
That,
love that. I
and
love that.
that's what I want.
I
But I do want to do more Crom. It's just, is it going to be the before part or is it going to be the after part? Because
right.
there's you could do
So
the God Crom Chronicles, or you could do, you know, him just fighting the other tribe, walking around being Crom.
have you read any of Crom and the Warlock of Shardor?
No, no.
Okay.
I was
The
enamored
if
by your
you
artwork and the stuff that I saw from Crom,
Thank
and I
you.
thought this was really
Thank you.
good.
Thank you.
And yeah,
But
and
if you
mhm.
can find the time, I'm telling everybody the secret spot is the last spot, which is part 7,
Uh-huh.
and this is my key to the kind of directional pointing of taking Crom to grim, dark, gloomy, godlike status. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
but your story has its own like a place of existence that I'm feeling, and this is completely up to you because it's totally yours. Is to see it, definitely from you, printed as a comic. Is that something that you're thinking? Is to do like for instance, like I just showed off John Michael Heller and Jim Gullitz. This is only, I think this is like 20 pages or something like that, maybe 21. But of course, it has an ad in it too, 2 ads. But is this something that you think you would end up getting CROM, your CROM version into?
It's the size of this is a kablam size, so yeah, I'm doing it for the
So
purposes
you are
of yeah.
printing it.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be
Okay,
print on demand
great.
through Kablam. I think it's called
Oh,
Kablam.
that's perfect.
That's the
Yep,
size
yep,
of
yep, yep.
this. That's what I'm
Oh,
working
that's
at.
perfect then.
Yeah, I think
That's
it's. Let's see.
perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah. So, but inking is going to be okay. Writing, I got that. But the problem is lettering. I might have to have someone else help me letter. But I have a computer. I could probably figure it out. But if someone else wants to help out with something, along the way, it's fine
Well,
too.
that's once again, that is why I've set up the CRUM Unity. This video will go out in maybe like I think like two weeks or so. But as once again in reiterating, this is a low to no stress situation. I'm not calling out for collaboration to be the publisher. So the responsibility is a joint responsibility. In other words, the clarity from the individual coming with their work is exactly that. Like I get the feeling that, and I'm correct because you have said that this is going to be its own standalone comic book, which is awesome. And the thing that I want to figure out for the CROM anthologies is a way to promote your version of CROM, so it becomes almost like it does maintain itself like a player's handbook. So if
Yeah.
somebody wants to play in Dexter's sandbox for CROM, that then ends up becoming connective as well.
With my version, it's the Cartesian version, and
Mm-hmm.
it links into some of my other characters and stuff. It's not the first time I've worked with that. So I can work with other people too if they're interested in having me do something
Well,
for
we'll
them.
find out. The
Yeah,
the
yeah.
reality is there's not a lot of us. It's
Oh, of
just a
course
real
not. Yeah,
it's this is
yeah.
not I mean, I literally tell people I'm dealing with probably somewhere between 2 to 300 possible fans, and then when I categorize that as a fan, it would be somebody that would ultimately purchase a
Oh,
CROM comic, whether
that's
it's
pretty
from
good.
me or not. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So once again, like it's ridiculous for me to stand here and say, oh yeah, you could do this, and you should just go print 1,000 copies and try to get with Diamond to distribute. No. It's quite the opposite. It's immensely the opposite because I'm really wanting to encourage individuals to step forward like you are and just get it out. Because my theory has always been, because I live by it, is I buy a comic book, right? So I get a comic book and I'm like, wow, man, this is really cool. And then I get about to like here and I go, you know what? I got my own idea of CROM.
Right, right.
And then, you know what I mean? And then I put the comic book off to the side and then I get a piece of paper and I do exactly what you're doing. And I want to see more and more people do that because I just find it to be like I said, I think there's way too many creatives out there that are using imaginary gatekeepers. There are no more gatekeepers.
No, I don't
The
believe so
only the
anymore.
only gatekeeper the only gatekeeper is you. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I have a lot of resources. I personally have resources, but I'm already starting to build resources around me where I can get to certain people to give help or answer questions or and go from there because it is one of the things I don't see going on out there other than like for instance the guys who put together Brutal Blade of Crom. So
Yeah, yeah.
Jamie, just Jamie, and we got Mike
Ah, that's
Jetty,
nice work.
Matchy, and Alex Turbin, Alan Robinson, which we just interviewed both Alex Turbin and Alan Robinson on Turbo Pit Fighters Indie Creator Exchange. Jamie is going to be next on the list. Matchy is going to be on the list. We're going to try to get everybody on there, and I'm not teasing beyond this. People need to get a copy. if you're boasting that you love black and white magazine, Sword and Sorcery, Savage Sword of Conan, you have to get a copy of this because it's just the way it is. And they dropped basically the same time I dropped my Crom, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So I know all the stars are lined for us, as well as I've already have communication with Jim. Jim's got some things going on with his own, with other work. So once he clears his drawing table, he'll be heading this way as well, sharing some of his thoughts about some crime stories. So that's what I'm really pushing for. And getting to. We are coming to the 45-minute mark. Dexter, I
Oh,
love keeping
wow.
these bite size,
Hmm.
but I want to give you one last, just sort of like if you have any questions for me or anything that you want to tie off that you feel is a little open at this point. But we're gonna get you back on. So it's
Sure. Um,
this is just the inaugural. Hi, how are you doing? Nice to
sure.
meet you.
Um,
Podcast
just
episode.
the overall art. What do you think? If there's anything that you think that might be needed?
Oh, at this point, I say pencil the whole thing and then scan them, and then if you'd like to send them to me, then we could do like not even like why don't you do like that's page 2, right? I
Yeah.
would suggest I would suggest go all the way to 6. Once
Hmm.
you have page 6 completed, get in contact with me again, and we'll do exactly what we're doing right now.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
like I said, because we haven't shown the last 4 pages of story. I don't want to spoil it for people,
Hmm.
because ultimately, based on you, of course, ultimately, when we're sitting here, the two of us, with Dexter Jones's the God CROM comic printed by Kablam, then people will be like, "I need a copy. How do I get a hold of it?" And then I'll put that down in the notes, and you'll also have other places to be able to promote your comic. And as I've been suggesting, people they should have a YouTube channel, they should have an Instagram channel, but even bigger and better on top of that is a website. But these aren't things that need to happen immediately. They just need to be on the horizon. The thing that needs to happen is a completed comic book,
Oh,
whether
yeah.
it's six
Hmm.
pages or 22 pages, but you're heading there. My side of the screen, I get this bitmappy version because the way Riverside streams us and captures us, um, I don't have it as crisp and clear. If you could do me a favor and just pull down the page just like 2 inches, I want to see the top panel, please. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, even just what bitmappy. I mean, this is you're so on the right path. I would have nothing other than to go because
Okay.
some decisions you think you would have to make right now. I would say don't just get exactly what you have already accomplished with page 1 and panels 1 and 2 on page 2, and get those 6 pages together, and then once again we'll get it on. And by the way, too,
Hmm.
all those who are watching this episode, leave us comments. Both Dexter and I, because like I said, I'm not this one and done. Hi, how you doing, Dexter? Good luck to you. See you bye. That type of thing. When you come back, people will be just as excited because then they'll maybe have answers to their questions, or they'll probably even most definitely end up with more questions than answers, which I think is always a better way of going about making a comic book.
Yeah, I welcome questions, and I'll answer everything I can.
Yeah,
Sure. Hmm.
yeah. So, anything else?
No, that's it, Kurt. I think. Thank you for having me. I
Awesome.
appreciate it. And
Oh, you're welcome.
Crom lives,
You're
I
welcome.
guess, or do we have a cut?
Absolutely,
There it is.
absolutely. That's some great
Yeah.
stuff. That's some great stuff. So, so with that being said, everybody, Crom the Barbarian is in the wild. This is on cromthebarbarian.com. 140 pages of black and white sword and sorcery goodness. I kind of call this like the handbook to the sandbox to come and play. There is an open call for collaboration, which is exactly what's happening right now. And it's just to get people moving and excited about their own work and sharing and expressing, and then getting feedback. We're teasing the fans. And then once you have something out there, the community will help, get the word out and get those books into fans' hands. But other than that, I can't wait to see the first 6 pages of the God CROM by Dexter Jones. And that's all I have.
Thank you
Dexter,
for,
thank
yes,
you again, and we'll see you.
we'll see you. Thank you.